Today seems to be the day for festive markets, so I'm going to drop by Doust and Jolene are having one, and Rochelle Canteen as well. All brands I love, so keen to see who they curate and what they brought together, and hopefully pick up some final goodies. So I've just finished work for the day and I am now ready to tackle these rings that I got cast a few weeks ago now, and yeah, they've just been sitting around and I haven't had the energy to do them, but now I'm ready to do it. So that's what we're going to do together. I know that in the last video and previous videos people have asked how the rings are made, so I took the wax ring that I had made to a caster, and then they put them through a process to create the silver ring as it is now. And I'll put some photos up here to show what that looks like. They essentially are making a cast of sorts around the wax ring, and then that cast you then pour silver into, and then you get your silver rings. So during the process of wax casting, you do lose the wax version of your ring. And then also when you receive them back, when they create the cast, you'll see that it looks like a tree. So they've got all the rings, all pieces of jewelry attached to a wax tree. And so you get these little sprues like this one, or even much bigger ones like this one. And so now I have to remove that sprue and then also tidy up and polish and clean the ring, because as you can see it comes back like really quite white. And so essentially I'm going to go through a few processes of sanding and grinding this silver back so that it's nice and shiny, and then also I'll add a polish. I just use this Dialux Rogue polish and that will make it extra shiny. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to shine some old pieces as well. And so 2 of these rings have little gemstones in them, which I'm really proud of. They actually stayed in place, which I'm excited by. And I'm going to, clean them all up to reveal what rings are underneath here.
I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you.
Probably should have looked into this before, but turns out I don't have any of the right equipment to remove these sprues. I just thought you would file it down. My last round of rings, I paid extra to get the sprues removed, and that was like obviously super helpful. So obviously trial and error is amazing because I have tried and I have erred. It turns out I do not have the right equipment to remove these sprues. I definitely thought I did / thought it would be a lot easier than it is. I think I need to go and buy proper metal files and or a proper jeweler's, this is a jeweler's saw, but I think the blade is wrong. So yeah, I've just not got the right blade or sandpaper / file. So we are not going to be removing any sprues today. Instead, I will just clean up some of my old rings that I've never properly polished. So at least they'll be nice and shiny and new looking, and I can just play around with those. The last round of rings I had the sprues removed as part of the process, and I must admit that was a lot easier. Might do that again. So yeah, we are just going to be cleaning up rings now, and then I have to watch some more videos / go to the shops and ask the people, please, how do you do this? But it is kind of fun to have something that is like so truly trial and error. Like I don't know anything that I'm doing right now, so it's really like I would say annoying, but also just it makes you humble, you know. When you go to try and file down a bit of silver and the silver does not budge. The silver's like, what you doing there, bro? Like that's not what we need. We need something unique to us, and I do not have that for them. So yeah, it's humbling. All right, let's clean up these other rings.
Could be 20 minutes or an hour or two. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you.
Hello, it's Saturday. I had no plans, so let's go see the National Portrait Gallery and see what's going on. Hello there, I wanted to drop by, pop into my video to talk about some of the books I've been reading recently. I finished Alone with You in the Ether, and I must say, I think that is my favourite book so far of 2025, and I've been reading a lot this year. Like, she's getting through the books, she's got the time, she wants the distraction, and the books are getting pumped through this year. So I've been reading a lot, and I think Alone with You in the Ether is my favourite so far. It really is just a beautiful love story. I think halfway through I was like, is this gonna go in a direction I don't want it to go to? But no, it is a love story, it's beautiful. So I really recommend that book. I've already passed it on to my friend. I also recently read Brown Girls. This is another book I need to pass on to my other friend. This I really enjoyed. I read it really quickly because the pacing of the book requires, I think, you to read it really quickly. It's kind of never from a single point of view. She kind of is speaking on almost behalf of all the brown girls in her area, at least, because it's about growing up in Queens, New York. And so I thought that the pacing of this book was really interesting. And yeah, not like my favorite or anything like that, but definitely enjoyed flying through it and getting the different perspective that this book gives me. Another book I finally got to recently was Sally Rooney's latest one. I bought this hardback, as you can see, back when it came out. Took me almost a year to get around to reading it. I feel like people love to hate on Sally Rooney. I didn't mind this book at all. I think she's a good author. Like, this is a good book. It really made me think, and I really liked the perspective of the younger brother in particular. I found the older brother's style of writing harder to read. It took me a while to kind of understand that, but I also perceive it as written that way because that's how like his mind is working and how he's so almost in his own head all the time, versus the younger brother is in his head but in a more, I don't know, to me the younger brother, who was quote unquote meant to be the slightly weirder one, was yeah, more honest, more real, more relatable, easier to understand. So yeah, I liked the new Sally Rooney book. Also, if you're wondering what happens to your books when you drop them in the bath, this is what happens. So, not the first time I've dropped a book in the bath, mind you, but still readable. Another book I read, I don't know whether I mentioned this, but I read The Courage to be Disliked. And this is a book which usually self-helpy books I tend to listen to as audiobooks. I just prefer it that way. But this one I bought, and I'm glad I bought it because I dog-eared a lot of pages, and it's one that I want to hold on to and I want to come back to time and time again. I feel like it has a lot of interesting learnings. I'm glad I picked it up. I really recommend others pick it up. I don't really even feel like I need to tell you what it's about. I feel like I just need to say pick it up and have a read. But if you are wondering what it's about, on the back it says stop people pleasing and achieve true happiness. So if you're a people pleaser, this book really puts into perspective that if you learn to not people please and you learn to have the courage to just be disliked, I think you're going to live a lot lighter, and I think we could all do with a little bit more lightness. I think it's written in a very unusual way. It's a conversation between a youth and a philosopher. So this book is his kind of dedication to Adler, an homage of sorts, to show us how a philosopher would explain this philosophy to a young person. So interesting way, interesting style, but I didn't mind it. I learned a lot from this, and this is a book that I feel I'm going to hold on to, which I think speaks volumes. I feel like sometimes you read those books and you're like, this is not the last time I read you. Those are my recent reads, and let me know if you've been reading anything interesting that I should add to my list, because I always love a recommendation. As I said, I'm powering through the books. So yeah, hope those are helpful recommendations.